Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm in the reloading room working up some loads. You will see some shooting in this video down the road. I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons as I see it with the 243 Winchester. So come back in a moment folks and I'll show you what I've come up with. Is when reloading this cartridge, they are kind of finicky. First of all, I've never taken a single second or third shot that I did not have to trim the case. For whatever reason, that 20-degree shoulder that it has does seem to stretch. Maybe it's because I'm overloading the cartridge, I don't know, but I want to get the top performance that I can out of it. The second thing is that bullets do matter. Again, I'm a hunter. So the sleeker, higher BC type of bullets that are great for target shooting are not recommended for hunting, and I wouldn't recommend it that way either. But you need to have a pretty well bonded type bullet, or you know, the 95 grain SST works just fine. But again, I told you my experience about using those bullets, and the deer did run off. Some cases up to a quarter of a mile before I found them. They all died, so the bullet was effective, if that's what your measure of success is. My measure of success is I hope that I can see it go right down with one-shot kill, and the next thing I have to do is worrying about whether or not my knife is sharp enough to do the field dressing. Okay, so between the 80 grain and the 100 grain bullet seems to be the sweet spot that I have found. I have not shot a 55 grain bullet or that light of a bullet because, you know, to be up there around 3,800 feet per second, because I want to have my barrel life of my hunting rifles last a little bit longer. And it's true, when you do have something that's burning that much powder and going that fast, you can get faster throat erosion than a normal bullet. Now, factory ammos are just fine, and you know, modern day factory ammo is rivaling handmade ammunition that hand loaders have been using for years. Alright, so today I am loading up the 95 grain SST and the 95 grain Nozzler with two different powders. Those powders are Superformance powder, which is, you know, a powder that is touted by Hornady itself to give you an extra 100 and 150 feet per second over their normal type of loads. Now, whether or not that's the same powder that you buy through Hodgson that Hornady uses, I don't know. But it does say Hornady on the can. The second one is Winchester 780. This is a powder that was discontinued about 3 years ago by Hornady, and I don't know why. It was a very good powder and was designed for overbore and magnum type of cartridges and gave me fantastic speed. So that's why I'm giving it a try, along with the Superformance, which is supposed to give me faster speed, so that I can use that 90, 95, 100 grain class bullet and be over, well over that 3,000 feet per second that I'm looking for. Alright, well, again, the only cons that I have over it is that this bullet has its limitations. As far as reloading is concerned, it can be very finicky as to powder selection and bullet selection for special purposes only. Alright, so let's get out to the range. I'm finishing up this reloading here, and we'll find out what works well today. See you soon. Here's a quick demonstration of the case prep for the 243. Alright, so I use a little bit of Unique. I just go ahead and lightly dab it. Go ahead and stick it in the press, give it a full tilt, and the next step, of course, take this little Lyman gauge, go to the 243, and that needs to be trimmed. Alright, so I go over here to my Lyman case prep center. I go ahead and stick it on there, and I'll go ahead and trim a little bit off. I'm not real careful about how much of a trim. All I want it to do is to fit inside of that gauge. Alright, then Go ahead and go over here to the camphor and chamfer. One thing nice about the camphor and chamfer, if you have a split in your case, this will tell you. Alright, then go ahead and clean out the primate procker. Go ahead and use the case neck brush. Come back over here, check again. And the last step I use is my little gauge here to make sure that it will fit, and it does. Then I go ahead and give it a cursory wipe down. Okay, so that's it. Let's get on to the rest of it. Hey, one slight correction from when I was in the reloading room. Winchester 780 was discontinued by Hodgson, not by Hornady, so forgive that mistake. Alright, I'm just going to bring you in for the last three each of each bullet with the different powders. So the first up is the SST with Superformance, and then the last three will be SST with 780. Try to make this video go faster. So here we go with the first shots. Okay, there's a pretty good target there. You'll see it. This is the second, or the last three of the Superformance on the 95 grain SST. Be the target just above the last one I shot. Pretty good accuracy. Speed's still not there, an average of 29.38. So this is Hornady's max load of 44.4. So let's see how it does. I do notice that the first shot is usually higher, and then the subsequent shots are lower because the barrel's warm, I guess. Alright, target just above the last one I shot. $29.55. $29.51. $29.42. So the precision numbers are going to be better on this set of three. Okay, let me go reset everything. Now we're moving on to Winchester 780. Okay, target is really good. Those SST bullets sure darn well can shoot. Target's at 100 yards. This is the last three with Winchester 780. In the previous group, I finally got up to 3,055 feet per second. So this is, like I said, a real fast powder. Unfortunately, it's been discontinued. But let's see how it shoots. Be the target just above the last one I shot, which is top right. .3075. That's where this 95 grain should be, but I've struggled to get there. .3078. Oop, a little bit of bolt lift there, wasn't there? Yeah. Oh yeah, primer is definitely flat. Winchester primer, Winchester brass. Sweet, 3045. Okay, well let me go reset, write down everything, and we'll get on to the Nosler 95 grain ballistic tip with the same two powders. Again, I'll bring you in on the the last 3 of each powder. Okay? Okay. The Superformance with the Nosler ballistic tip is not listed in their manual. Neither is Winchester 780. So I'm just doing sort of an apples to apples comparison with what is in the Hornady manual. I don't normally recommend that. I usually recommend by you going by the bullet maker's data. But in this particular case, it's working out all right. All right, here's the last 3 of the Superformance with the Nosler ballistic tip 95 grain. Now remember, these are pulled bullets that I bought, these 95 grain. And they're shooting really good for 10 cents a piece. Okay, so be the target on the right, upper left. .36. Everything looks okay. .44. And 29.68. Okay, so now we'll move on to Winchester 780. I'll bring you in for the last 3 shots. Stick around. Alright, here's the last 3 with the Nosler ballistic tip and Winchester 780. Now that first 3 opened up quite a bit, so I'm trying to eliminate those variables, whether it was shooter fatigue, a very, very hot barrel, or a dirty barrel. So I ran a bore snake through it, waited over 30 minutes for this round of 3. So hopefully we get a better type of scenario. Let's get this set up properly. Alright, last 3 shots. Be the target on the right, upper right. Whew, that was warm. 3085. Let's check that brass. Yep, definitely a flat primer. But I'm going to go ahead and shoot the next 2 anyway. .3085. Real. .3096. Yep. All I wanted to do was to get the 3100 minus a 20 from a 24-inch barrel minus 2 inches, about 50 feet per sec. Take it to 3050. And I'm at 3096, so let's see if this last shot will group. That one shot just about a ½ inch high. Alright, very acceptable group, but not the best group of the day. And that was 3066. Alright, so you know the drill. We'll go over the target and the numbers. Hang on. Alright, there we go. The 95 grain SST with Superformance on the left and Winchester 780 on the right. Okay, the first 3 shots averaged 29.38. Next 3 shots averaged 29.49 with an SD of 6, an extreme spread of 13. And yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good group. Okay, then over here was a Winchester 780, an average of 30.41. And that's a pretty good group there. I'll live with that. And then up here was probably the best group of the day. Average 30.66 with an SD of 18. And there's the head of that 243 that covers those 3 shots. Okay, then over here was the 95 grain ballistic tip pulls. Superformance on the left, Winchester 780 on the right. Not quite as good a group as the SSTs, but good numbers. 29.33 with an SD of 7. That's a half-inch group. I'll take it. 29.49 SD of 16. Another half-inch group. We'll take it. And then things really opened up with the Winchester 780. Now, part of that might have been, you see these first 3 shots in the stringing. Barrel was extremely hot. And I waited about 30 minutes and cleaned the barrel to shoot these last 3. So the last 3 was an average of 30.81. I met my objective, but the SD was a little high, 21. So, you know, the difference between 30.81 and 29.49, you can do the math. This is what I'm after for hunting. But this will also work over here for the SST. All right, folks, well, this is the end of my workups now for the 243. I think I've got my loads. So if you enjoyed this series, go back and see the previous 4. But give me a thumbs up, will you? Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you will. But no matter what, God bless you all. See you next time. Goodbye.